Hello, my name is India and I happen to read a lot, and today we're going to be wrapping up 2024. I'm going to share a little bit of fun stats, and then I'm also going to dive into wrapping up the challenges that I did this year and whether I succeeded in them and failed. So stick around, it's going to not be the longest video, hopefully it'll be quite, short and sweet, and then we can say goodbye to 2024 and welcome 2025. So to start off the big number, I read in 2024 163 books. Now, these are a myriad of books. I read as much as I can, as quickly as I can, loads of different mediums. I've read tomes of novels, I've read manga volumes, graphic novels, novellas, all of this kind of stuff. Like, I believe that reading is reading in any capacity. So if you're going to come to me and say audiobooks don't count and manga and graphic novels don't really count, like, we're not even going to have this discussion because I disagree with you. So yes, 163 books for 2024. In 2023, I read 168. So I read 5 less than I did last year. And I stopped counting DNFs this year as well. So maybe, I can't remember whether I counted DNFs in my total for 2023. So maybe we're on the same track. But yeah, I'm really proud of 163. I think that's insane. I know next year I won't be hitting that. I will have a whole video talking about my plan for 2025. But with what I've got planned, I have my number. I would like to exceed that number. But I definitely know I will not be getting anywhere near 163 next year. But this was an amazing number, and I think mainly I did my 30 manga volumes in 30 days, and I think that contributed. So when it comes to calculating pages read, I include all the pages I read even in books that I DNF'd. So if I was reading a book and I stopped it at page 50, I will count those 50 pages that I've read. Even though I don't count DNFs to the overall number, I do count pages read towards my page count, if that makes sense. So looking at my notes, I read 44,725 pages. And there you go. The spreadsheet that I have is actually a 5-year spreadsheet. So when we do this next year, I'll be able to, compare the two. And ever since I started literally DNFing things the minute they don't spark joy, very Marie Kondo style, I have seen an increase in my average star rating. So my average star rating for this year was a 4, because I don't believe in continuing books that I don't enjoy. I literally don't see the point in it. I'm an avid DNFer. I believe in the DNF. So I don't understand why I'd force myself through something like that. So 4-star average rating because I only rate the books that I enjoy. So this makes a lot of sense. I know a couple of years it's been like 3.5-ish, but yeah, 4 stars. So my shortest book this year was a short story that I read by Brandon Sanderson called The 11th Metal. It was 24 pages. And if you want my honest opinion, it was fine. It was fine. It was a book that I read. But the longest book that I read are 2. So my Goodreads is off because I actually look into exactly how many pages I have. So what it says on my Goodreads year wrap up is wrong. I have 2 books that tied for the biggest books of the year, the books with the most amount of pages. And that is Where Sleeping Girls Lie and Harrow the Ninth. Both books that I really, really enjoyed. Both books that contributed to this kind of idea of what I want to do with my 2025 reading plan. There you go. While I thought The 11th Metal was fine, Where Sleeping Girls Lie and Harrow the Ninth I really enjoyed. So I'm going to do some quick fire stats for you because I don't want to fire off stats that are really boring to some people unnecessarily, but reminding ourselves here that I read 163 books this year. My main genre, surprise to no one, it's the same every year, it's fantasy. 34.1% of what I read this year was fantasy, which is 58 books. I have a cute little pie chart. I also do, I bought this from Ali, the hardback hoarder, I think it was, that did this, I think. It was a $5 and it's for 5 years. It's incredible. And my subgenre, my biggest subgenre is contemporary. So this will be for contemporary fantasies, contemporary romances, and 39.4% of what I read had a subgenre of contemporary, which brings it to 28. And then again, shock to no one, 90% of what I read this year was non-fiction. No, I'm not surprised. And then my most popular format, so I am not surprised by this, 50% of what I read was a novel. I also did manga a lot. I separated manga from novels. So over a quarter of what I read this year was manga. Half of what I read this year were novels. So that's kind of over 200 pages. The way that I do it is a short story is up to 50. Then a novella goes up to 200 pages. And then if you go past 200 pages, in my mind, you're a novel. Give or take 250, because a friend of mine, Morgan, they said that they count novellas up to 250 pages, so maybe I'll change that for the new year. And then again, shock to no one when it comes to physical and ebooks, 130 books that I read this year, so that's 76.5% of what I read this year was physical books, which I'm not surprised. I have loads of physical books. I mean, I am going to do a bookshelf tour, but yeah. And then if we go to audience, just under 6%, 57.1% of what I've owned is adult books. And then after that, the next big chunk is YA, which I've read a lot more YA. A couple of years ago, I wasn't reading that much YA. So it's quite interesting to see the fact that I have increased my YA reading. I do think a good chunk of that is I do tend to list a lot of manga as YA. And as we all know, I read a good chunk of manga this year. And then finally, we are going to wrap up the challenges that I did this year. So I really pulled back on the challenges for 2024. From like 2021 to 2023, maybe even 2020 actually. I think 2020 to 2023, I was just challenging myself. I was doing so many different challenges. My whole thing was like, I want to read as quickly as I can, as much as I can, really like expand and branch out and try new things. So it was like every challenge I could do, I was like giving it a go. I then got very overwhelmed and kind of burnt out towards reading a little bit. So in 2024, I decided, that's it, I'm going to scrap all these like complicated challenges of themes and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm just going to focus on the core challenges that I always do. But I challenged myself with my Goodreads reading challenge, which was how many books can I read in a year? My 2024 sequels challenge, where I challenged myself to read one sequel a month from an ongoing series. I then challenged myself to read a certain number of books from my physical TBR. And the last challenge I did was my 30 books in 30 days, which I did in 2023, but then I switched it up and did 30 manga volumes in 30 days. And there we go. Also, I wanted to focus a lot on new releases and keeping on top of new releases. So it was like 4 big challenges and 1 mini challenge. And it was very easy. Like it was a super fun year. Like I didn't feel the pressure. If anything, I felt the pressure of reading new releases and keeping on time and on track of them, which is why I think it's shifted how I want to do my reading in 2025. But I really smashed the challenges this year. So let's go through them. For my sequels challenge, I also smashed that out of the park. What did I say? I read 25 sequels this year. 25 out of 12. That's really, really good. Obviously, I try to strive to hit 12. I also am that kind of person that will do like a base challenge. I know that I will reach it, but obviously at the same time, it's like I like ticking the box, but I think if I give myself too high of a challenge, I'll just stress myself out. So I knew I was going to read at least one a month, and I think 1 month, what was it? I read 4 sequels in January alone, and then I read 9 sequels. 9 sequels in August, because they're all manga series. But yeah, so smash it out of the park with 25 out of 12 sequels. And then for my physical TBR, last year was the first time I actually achieved my physical TBR. In 2022, I set myself a goal of reading 30 and I read 28. Not a good year for me. So then last year, I set myself a goal of 30 again, smashed it out the park. So for 2024, I decided to hit the goal of 50. I was like, come on, we can bump this up. Come on, let's just be conscious with what we're doing. And I ended up reading 66. 66, so I smashed that goal. That was incredible. And then for my 30 volumes in 30 days, I also smashed out the park. Like, it's just been a good year. It's been a good year for challenges. So we'll see what 2025 has in store for me and in store for all of us readers. But yeah, this was a very quick fire wrap up. I think in the new year, oh my God, time is weird. I think in 2025, at the end of 2025, I will probably do a more in-depth video, just because I will have set my plans up in another video and then we'll have the whole year and I'll be talking about it, rather than I thought I'd just do a quick video for this one, because we've not discussed 2024 as a year. But for 2025, with my reading plan video, we will do, and that will be really good. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have an amazing 2025, and I hope your 2024 was good. But yeah, I hope you have an amazing 2025. Thank you so much for watching.